Hi guys, this is Nikki, you also known as Faces Trader, and you're watching our global market updates. So actually, last night you've got the index names falling down about 2% in your Nasdaq, your S&P 500, your Dow Jones. A lot of people were actually asking me, is this the start of the crash? And I was telling them that actually it's a healthy correction in my view. You see the market bleeding like this, and yet I'm actually very happy because finally, there is some sanity in the world because we've had like 1 week of a spike in coronavirus cases in US and in Brazil, and even a 42 case in Beijing on Sinfadi market, and yet the market was just going up and up and up and didn't have a care in the world. So at least like for a single day, at the very least, the market somehow listened that hey, we have to somehow go from here strong up to some downs. So sometimes it's actually a good thing to actually have a healthy correction. I actually view this more as a healthy correction. This 2% drop is part and parcel of a healthy bull market. Nevertheless, I have a lot of stories to share to you, news and charts. We're going to discuss Workhorse Group. To be honest, if you're aware of Tesla and Nikola, you've probably been aware of this electric truck. Now, for some of you who aren't aware of it, actually, I only spotted this a bit late. I've already spotted it about 6 already, so I thought I was late. The actual buying area had to be about 4. If you were able to buy anywhere during March time at about $2, then good for you. 2 to 4, 4 to 10. In the last few days, Workhorse Group has been rising because Workhorse Group had partnerships with UPS and FedEx. Let me get the news story for you. Workhorse, UPS, FedEx. So, this is June 15, 2018. UPS has already been buying a lot of electric vans from Workhorse. So let's read this in case that you aren't aware. Hey, who's this Workhorse? I never knew that there was a different pick that I could do in terms of electric vehicles. So the world might not be so aware because they're all fixated in Tesla, that they always forget that, there is such a thing as a BYD of the world. And we have been seeing that all these electric cars have been moving up. Take a look at the BYD of the world. BYD company, build your dreams. Since March, it has actually been doing V-shaped recoveries from about 35 to as high as the all-time high of 56. Naturally, BYD also rose again. And this is actually already, I think this is already trading at about a 5-year high. That 56 is an important breakout there. So not just that, of course, you've been seeing Tencent increase their stake in NIO, which is the Chinese Tesla. So the electric vehicle segment is actually very hot, whether it's sexy for you or you don't care because this is a sector that you don't understand. The important thing is that you are seeing that the market is willing to pay a premium right now to these electric dreams that they have. Okay, so NIO actually had a buy area here at 2, went as high as 5, fell down again during the COVID time to back to 2. The reason why I put a arrow buy here was the time that Tencent infused money. It was going to go bankrupt already, and then Tencent infused money. Recently, we saw that Tencent infused money again. And so I think like NIO becomes a buy anywhere from of course NIO is not yet profitable, so these things can always go down back to about go parabolic up and parabolic drop. See this 2 to 4 back to about 2. So 2 to 7, 8, it can go back to 4. That's not something that is this is a company that does a lot of promises. So when you're a lot of promises, you tend to have a lot of drops as well. Nevertheless, let's try to read something for you. As of April, Workhorse has teamed up with UPS, Virginia Center for Innovative Technology and Drones to test unmanned systems for their coronavirus response. In a time of crisis, drones could add safety, speed, predictability, efficiency to healthcare logistics. I heard that the market of drone delivery, they call this the last mile delivery, is about $18 billion. Workhorse went from about, actually, if you look at the chart of Workhorse, it went somewhere from about 2 to 10, so times 5. It went from about less than $200 million to about $800 million, based, of course, on these news of UPS, FedEx. So the potential for unmanned system medical deliveries against this pandemic is something we must explore, said Virginia Governor Scott Bryce. UPS said, we've proven that effective drone delivery of medical products is faster than conventional ground-based transportation. Our workhorse team is proud to be able to help through the use of our drone technology in this crisis. Dwayne Hughes, Workhorse Group CEO. So this company is actually existing for a while, but there was no hype. But right now, I think because UPS and FedEx had news, I think just 5 days ago, they added more workhorse vans, electric pickup trucks. So that's why this broke out. If you notice, that $4 is a breakout of the last. That is significant resistance if you're a chartist. So you could see that Workhorse Group right now is trying to test whether this 10 to 11 all-time high in the last 10 years will break out. Me, personally, I would wait for a Workhorse to drop a bit to about 6 or 5 if I can. If I can't, then okay lang, sige, it's fine. Sometimes though, these strong moves, these drops are actually to be bought. Congrats to those who got in early if they have it, but I'll see if I can get in near 7 at the very least. So I actually just spotted the company. I was a bit late. I already spotted it about 7. So I thought, 4 to 7, 100% up, maybe I'm late. It shot up to about 10 last night, even when the US was cratering. So that tells you that there's actually news-related flows here that you have to actually be aware of. As long as the partners are legit and UPS, FedEx are actually legit partners, you actually have people who think that, hey, maybe this is the future and $500 million is not an expensive part for me to play to play this last mile delivery if I believe in the drones and the unmanned delivery trucks. Now there's a lot of news to tell you. Actually in the US, in Hong Kong, we're seeing Xiaomi. Xiaomi actually started to right now Hong Kong is Hong Kong is closed because there's a Dragon Boat Festival. But I wasn't able to share this news last night. Xiaomi actually broke out after they reported their product release of the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro. So let me just read to you. I'm not a big fan of Xiaomi. I'm an Apple iPhone. But anyway, let me read to you. June 21, that would be about last week. My favorite Xiaomi was the Mi Mix 3. It had the right combination between hardware design, certain element of style. Actually, this is a review from Max Weinbach. So he reviews a lot of gadgets, focusing on Android stuff like Samsung phones. And so the people in this group believe that these Xiaomi phones could probably sell well. Xiaomi Mi 10 is Xiaomi's most premium, consumer grade, most expensive phone. $1,000. That's 999 euros. It's now released a phone as expensive as an Apple iPhone, so it could actually help Xiaomi if they can actually sell well. These Xiaomi 10s is a jump in price. Is it worth it versus their previous phones? So you can read what's the difference of a Xiaomi 10, Xiaomi 10 Pro versus the system. So the system is running on Qualcomm Snapdragon 865. These are, I think, faster phones. Higher RAMs, up to 12 gigs, up to 512 gigs for the Xiaomi 10 Pro. You can actually watch their so I think that's the reason why Xiaomi went up. Personally, Xiaomi is listed in Hong Kong. This has been an IPO that was not doing well since you could see that in the last how many years. From 22, it sank to as low as 8 and 9. The reason why I put an arrow there was me seeing a turnaround play here at 9. I didn't actually buy this, but usually what I do is when I see a support, like a technical buying support, just put it just to see what would have happened if I really put my money with my technical buys there. So like here at 9, it was giving a buy. So far, it went to 13. COVID time fell back to that $9 support, then now back to that recent high of 13. But right now, I'm not really a big fan of phones, hardwares, but just telling you that, yeah, it's a good chart. If you are a believer of this Xiaomi thing, then you have good technicals going on for you. Now, I was telling friends that I have zero idea with all these COVID vaccines, but the fact that it's running way, way high, I've been I've been watching this Novavax and Inovio ever since COVID, and ever since the vaccine, but I never really bought it. You see this gap up here, then gap down here. Ever since $4, had I just just shut my mouth whether this is a COVID play or not, or whether it has real COVID vaccines. The fact is, this is 20 times already ever since that time when people were shouting that they have a COVID vaccine. Novavax 4 to 80, that's 20 times your money in just this 3 to 6 months. But this just tells you how insane people are on COVID vaccine. We've seen the same thing with Inovio running up 100% this week. Ever since the COVID vaccine play, which was, people were talking about Inovio Pharmaceuticals since March and February. Ever since then, that came from 3. Now it's trading at 25. That's 8 times your money. I'm just saying to you that when you see people talking about US is falling, it should crash, la la la, they're just really talking about the index. But if you look at if you take a look at companies, you can make money whatever people are saying. Example, I'll tell you what. Ben & Jerry's is boycotting Facebook over the racism, Black Lives Matter thing. Brands including North Face, Ben & Jerry's, Patagonia pulling out in July over the hate speech policing. Facebook will be hit by its largest ever advertising boycott over racism. Now, I really believe that these are considered financial noise, and usually they would drop out from Facebook maybe for 3 months or 6 months. Next year, they'll be back on Facebook again. And Facebook actually, does not rely simply on digital advertising. Facebook actually relies on so many things, not just digital. It's actually a diversified play. They have e-commerce, they have payments. Of course, they have partnered with Geo already of Reliance Industries. I'll tell you what happened in Reliance Industries ever since that partnership. Reliance Industries, the SM of India, went all-time highs. That was this name. That was around April. You see this gap up from about 1.2 to 1.3. That 8% move. That's like seeing SM Investments. Sorry for those non-Filipinos here. Philippines has SM Investments. That's the largest. And India's largest is Reliance Industries. For an SM to go 10%, for Reliance Industries to go 10% in a single day, you have to do that with news. And that was a Facebook news. This tells you that from 1.3, you buy that from the Facebook news. Now it's 1.7. You've got what? Assuming you chase that time, you're still up 35%. So, and you can even see this, even if it falls here to about 1.6, that's a 10% drop. This is actually a recipe of a correction that is healthy. It's not like, oh my God, we're going to go back to those lows, la la la. No, you have to take a look at what you're buying. If you're buying something that is important in the world, in this coronavirus world, shut up the hate. It's actually going to be a buying opportunity for you. You want to buy Facebook here at about 218 to 200. Any noise on this Facebook boycott ads, this thing should actually be a response for you to actually buy here at about 200 to 218. Now, a few things, no? We have seen a lot of people talk about, hey, a lot of people are getting bankrupt. What will we do here? Let me share to you what happens when companies go bankrupt, they go liquidation. Now, let me share to you a company that I got this stock idea from a fellow student, and then a friend as well. He told me, you know what? Whenever in financial crisis, I remember Liquidity Services. It went somewhere from about $4 to as high as $60. And given this COVID scenario, I think that a lot of people who got bankrupt will actually use Liquidity Services to go again to about $40, $50 someday. So I'm not sure if he got in at about $4. I'm actually gonna wait an entry. If I can get a decent entry here at about 550 to 590, I will. So for those who don't know, Liquidity Services is essentially like an eBay. It's like an auction house. Let's say I'm a restaurant and I'm shutting down because I can't live in this COVID world. I'm gonna have to sell my pots, my pans. I'm gonna sell my kitchen. One way to sell it is to find a buyer, and I could do that through Liquidity Services. So liquidity services actually, one thing going on for this is that you have a lot of insider buying too. I think the insider was buying all the way from February, ever since COVID time. So he's probably been buying $5 all the way to $3 and even back to about $5. Just to let you know how many shares he has already bought. I think he's bought more than 5 million shares in the last something month. And liquidity services, if you have 5 million shares here, you have about $30 million worth. Do you know the market cap of liquidity service is less than $200 million? And their sales in a single year is $200 million. If you expect their sales to go from 200 million to 400 million in the next coming few months or years, then this is actually a buy. So far, of course, you can see resistance here at 7. That is resistance at 7 and 8. But if you look at the big picture, I would agree with the CEO of Liquidity Services to actually be buying here. Liquidity is in my buy radar. I would look to buy liquidity. Now, talking about liquidation, I actually saw the news that Hertz is now being planned to be bought by Carvana and Autonation. Now, for a bankrupt company, they still own cars. Now, if you own cars, if I could sell that car for about $2,000, then it's not zero. Where is that news? I'm going to read the news for you. And that's the reason why Hertz was up 20% yesterday, because CarMax and Autonation and Carvana, all of these auction houses for used cars are planning to swoop in and buy some Hertz, the cars itself, not the shares. So I'm going to read this to you. Shares of Hertz Global shot up 20% in active trading Wednesday, putting them on track to buy to snap a 4-day losing streak. CarMax is suggesting and Autonation is suggesting that the bankrupt car company has they have 150,000 Hertz used cars. If I could sell, let's say I can sell 10 cars. 150,000. If I could sell one car for $1,000 or 50,000, that's how much? $150 million. Now, if it's $10,000, then that's how much? $1.5 billion. So that means that Hertz right now, which is trading at $200 million, some people are saying now, maybe I can just buy all your Hertz and then I'll just buy all your cars and then I can just process it and this is a distressed value for me. So we think, and this analyst is saying that we think that the longer that Hertz can be emerged from bankruptcy with a cleaner capital structure, the rivals like Avis Budget, all of them can actually just buy this. So because these bankrupt companies can actually be sold for, their scraps could be sold for $1 and not zero. You could see that from $1, Hertz went up as high as $2 last night, then fell down to $1.60. I would say that these zombie companies would get a lot of trading action. This is a zombie company. You could see that some people try to make a bet at about $1, $1.20, anytime near $1. They buy $1. If they lose, okay, I lose my $1. The way to play this is like lottery. You put $500. Okay, if I'm willing to lose my entire $500, it just goes to zero anyway. It goes to the listing. But if I'm right, my $500 will win $500 too. So the $1 made $2. So some of people made an intraday 100% gain. They might have taken profits. That's why you see that drop. But I would say that some people would buy any price at $1.70 with that mentality. Now, okay, I'll just buy $1.70. Even if I sell $2.40, $2.50, then I will still make 50% of my money. So there is that concept of buying bankrupt zombie companies. And that's also one reason why Lock-in, even if it's supposed to be delisted, will have a lot of buying again. So you could see that Luckin Coffee owns 4,500 stores. The company CEO had a fraud. They were cooking their books. But the question is, can I buy those coffee machines today for $1? Or can I buy those kiosks because let's say I am Starbucks. Can I just buy those coffee machines and then I'll just put coffee brew of it doesn't have to be Starbucks anyway. It could be like Tim Hortons. It could be any coffee shop company. I could just buy your coffee maker because a coffee maker still is $100 at the very least, even if it's used. A used coffee machine is still $1 rather than zero, right? So you're seeing that actually buy here, sell here. buy back here, sell there. If you didn't sell, then you probably sold down at the $3 below because that was a cut loss at 3. Then because of the news that Hertz is getting buyouts, maybe I think that's the reason why Hertz and lock-in actually managed to go up. So this is more like a contrarian play. I'm not saying that I'm correct. You know, you could lose your money. This can go to zero tomorrow. You wake up, oh my God, Hertz is zero, lock-in is zero. That's also possible, okay? So you don't go into these kinds of names without thinking about those types of things. Nevertheless, let's take a look at what happened with people betting on genetic editing. So in the past few days, NVTA, a pick of ARK Invest, Cathy Wood's fund, one of the best fund managers in the world, I would say, actually made a killing this week from 18. Now it's about 30. I think they bought somewhere at about 10 during the crisis. Although I think before $10, they already had it here. So they probably have 10 and 20. So their probable cost is about 15 to 16. This week, Invite partnered with a cancer oncology something like a company, and Invite is less than $1 billion. So I think like from $1 billion, it shot up to $2 billion here. Double your money in just a few days. Any drops of Invite at 22 will now be seen by some people as a buy. Now, with the genetic editing names going up, the leader of genetic editing didn't want to be forgotten. So CRSP Therapeutics actually managed to go all-time highs this week. From about 60, it managed to go to about 80. I would say that any drops of CRISPR here at 68 should be considered a buy. Now, is CRISPR the only leader? Well, it is the leader of CRSP, data genetic editing, but you've got a lot of other names in the sector that's also moving up. Intellia Therapeutics, you've got resistance here at 23, but I would say that the buying opportunity is coming at you here at 19. I was trying to buy it here at about 12. I forgot about it during COVID time, because during COVID time, you had so many buying opportunities. Genetic editing is not something that is in the first radar in my buying shopping list. However, I didn't see that it was already breaking out of 14 again, and now breaking out that resistance at 18. So this 19, I would say, is a buying opportunity for me if I really like a genetic editing play. Now, Editas, take note, all of these genetic editing plays don't have money. I mean, they don't have cash flow, so it's not trading on profits, earnings, revenues, not about that. It's all about whether human trials are being done, babies are, they are solving some blood sickle cell diseases. Those are the things that are what's happening in the medical breakthroughs right now. Now, for Editas, you could see that this is a V-shaped recovery from about 13, 19. This is already about 300%, almost 300% when it hit 36. So these are pullbacks. These are bullish pullbacks that I will wait to buy. I want to buy it as low as I can. If I can buy it at 26, that's good for me. So I will wait for those things. Another thing I want to share is that, a friend told me that, Nikki, you study cloud, KC Cloud, Kingsoft Cloud. Kingsoft Cloud went IPO in the USA just recently. So around May, IPO was 17, shot up 40%, fell down back to IPO 17. I didn't get in. She was telling me about it about 20 before the earnings even. Yeah, before earnings. So I was here about 19. Went to about 23, buy back at 21. Now I'm going to have to wait for Kingsoft. Kingsoft is competing with Alibaba and Tencent in the cloud department, cloud computing. So there's a cloud computing, and the clients of Kingsoft is ByteDance, TikTok, and let me read it for you. Kingsoft. The company, Kingsoft, is actually also benefiting. So actually, Kingsoft, 10% of Kingsoft is owned by Xiaomi. So 10% stakeholder of Kingsoft is Xiaomi. That could also be the reason why Xiaomi was going up. Xiaomi founder invested 10% on Kingsoft Cloud. Kingsoft Cloud gains 40% on the first day trading. It's self-funded. Investor list of Kingsoft are Xiaomi, Yuri Milner, China Asset Management, China Merchant, China Minsheng, Liye, Beijing Liye, a lot of Chinese companies. What was important here was that Kingsoft handles your TikTok. So it handles a lot of your games. I will give you more information in the next couple of days. But upon reading Kings of Cloud's customers, it tells me that if I want the cloud market, this is something that is very important. So Kings of Cloud's customers include ByteDance, China Construction Bank, high quality cloud service experts around the world. Try to study this company. I think this company, this IPO is actually worth your money. This drop, if it goes back here, give it an entry. Let's say I get an entry 20 to 23. I will welcome it with open arms. I'd like an entry back here. Give it to me 20% down. I'll enter this name. Okay, thank you guys. I hope you learned something for the day. See you again every single day. And if you like our classes, please register to Awesome 10X for in-depth coverage of these types of companies. Thank you. Bye-bye.